This is the full-time Devils preview for the game against Zorya Luhansk, a team that are literally from a war zone. So maybe when they're around here, we can take them through Ben Shield to make them feel a little bit better about their home. Right, let's get straight into it, talking about the match in the Europa League. I've got Dale with me. I've got Dale from Straight News, by the way. I've got John with me from Global Reds TV. And I've got Nat, who you may very well know from FanCam. She's always on him. Right, let's get straight into it, guys, and talk about what style of play you think we could see from Man United for the rest of this season now. Because for me, it's been a bit surprising actually so far. You know, we had that couple of years of Louis van Gaal, that dreary sort of possession-based football, while this season it's been more sort of, well, it's been a lot more attacking, leaving gaps at the back still, but it definitely has been more attacking. Nat, have you been surprised at what we've seen this season in terms of style of play?
Not really, you know, Gaz. He played an attacking style at the first year of Chelsea when he came back, and he won the league with an attacking style. So he said he's going to banish this Louis van Gaal style. So this is what we want to see. We want to see the United way, and this is what he's playing. This is what he wants to bring back to the club. So I'm not surprised by the way he's playing. I'm a bit surprised with the shaky defence, but I think they're working on that, and that can only get better with the season going on.
Dale, what have you made of how United have played this season? Been a surprise to you, or exactly what you'd expect? Because Jose does have this reputation of parking the bus, if you like.
I think that reputation is a bit flawed, to be honest. You look at his Real Madrid side, they broke a record for scoring a certain amount of goals. Nat mentioned his first season at Chelsea, and I think up from the start of the season to February, they were scoring goals for fun, and then they basically said, look, we'll just win League One. And they went about it the right way, really, just control games. I think what Mourinho's been doing United now is controlling games, and as we've seen there at the weekend, we really had a go against Leicester in the first half, absolutely smashed them with 4 goals, and that's what we want to see. Fans want to be entertained. Now, I think, obviously, every week we can't expect that. That's just unrealistic. But I think what really appealed to me was Andy Mitten's piece for ESPN a few days ago, where he mentioned one of the first things Mourinho did at his meeting with the players was like, tell them what a United team should do. A United team should attack, and all these discipline and control and stuff, but most importantly, win games. We went through a bit of a patch a week or so ago, losing 3 games in a trot, and people got panicked a bit too much about that. But that game against Leicester really shut people up, and hopefully we can go into the game on Thursday night and the weekend and continue this attacking ways.
John, what have you made of it so far then in terms of our style of play, our formation, our tactics? Do you think it's been a massive improvement from what we've seen over the past 2 years?
I wouldn't. I would say it's massive in a sense that we're already making progress in terms of how we're sort of approaching games under Louis van Gaal, under David Moyes. Obviously, as a fan, you can kind of tell what you're expecting, and when you get in that, when you're watching the game, you're expecting crosses, you're expecting a very a very stagnant movement from a Louis van Gaal side. You're expecting the simplest of things to go wrong. And I think from this Jose Mourinho side already, we're seeing improvements on all areas, whether it be defensive areas, midfield areas going forward. And I think Dale used the perfect word. I think the word is control. I think instead of parking the bus, instead of playing that sort of defensive-minded football, instead of trying to hold the 1-0 results, the 2-1 results, whatever it may be, I think it's more so the fact that Jose Mourinho is providing that sort of combination between going forward, being aggressive in attack, showing the creativity up front with the front players, linking up with the middle third. And I think there's also that element of that cruise control where he's trying to incorporate the defensive players to also not have his 11 park the bus, let's say, but more so like trying to make sure that they're maintaining that result. And I think there is a difference between parking the bus and a cruise control sort of method. So. And obviously, we still have a long way to go in the season. So we have, we have plenty of time to see what Jose Mourinho really fully has in store for us, and I can't wait to see.
There's a massive difference, isn't there, between parking the bus and controlling the game, like you say. And I'll be completely honest, it's just my opinion, but I don't think there's a lot wrong with parking the bus in certain games if you're 1-0 up. As long as it gets you the 3 points, especially in the big games, there's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to talk about one man in particular now. You probably already know who he is. We always mention him, but we're going to talk about him a little bit different today because I'm in a bit more of a good mood and I don't want too much negativity on this preview. But Wayne Rooney. Now, the positive for Wayne Rooney is that he is so close now to breaking Manchester United's all-time goal-scoring record. He only needs 4 more goals to break it, 3 more to match it. Now, John, I'll come to you first. Do you think that that stat affects the manager's thoughts going into a game like this at home against a team that you really should be beating, a team that me personally didn't know existed a couple of weeks ago? Do you think that it affects the manager's thoughts going into this? Maybe he will play Rooney so he can get close to that record. And do you think it should affect them?
You know, for a normal manager, if you ask in the perspective of a normal manager, it sort of should. You know, you're looking at handling somebody that's been a pivotal part in this club's history in the past decade or so. So Rooney definitely deserves that sort of respect. But at the same time, you can't sort of spoon feed a player of Rooney's sort of stature. And for somebody like Jose Mourinho, you wouldn't expect somebody like Jose to sort of spoon feed Rooney and say, look, you know, you're so close to breaking this record. You know, I'm going to give you these games. Go out there. Although it might be implicitly stated, you can't. I personally wouldn't see Jose Mourinho sort of make these sort of decisions. I think if anything, he'll probably play Rooney for the sake of playing Rooney, for the sake of being involved in the 11 as a crucial figure. I don't think he'll pick him for the thought of thinking, oh, Waz is going to break the record. We have to kind of like shove him in there. October is a pivotal month. If we're going to expect Rooney to be playing in games, if anything, I think he deserves to be in a bit part role. I'm not saying that he needs to be completely shunned out of the starting 11 for sure. I mean, it was a great performance against Leicester, but I think there's still a little bit more to go. It wasn't the most cleanest, most 110% perfect performance against Leicester City. Granted, it was fantastic, but I think we need to give that starting 11 a little bit. I don't want to touch too much on the 11, but I think we need to give that 11 a little bit more of a go. See what Rooney can do in a bit part role. Maybe start playing these games like Europa League. But you know, I don't think Jose Mourinho has this sort of that sort of sympathy towards things like that. He's too arrogant. He's too confident for himself and his own results to be able to think for Rooney's behalf or things of that nature.
I'd completely agree. I think that that's exactly what Jose Mourinho's like. Nat, do you agree that there is no sort of thought in Jose Mourinho's head about the record when he's actually picking the team?
It shouldn't be in any manager's head, whether it's Jose Mourinho. We're not Wayne Rooney FC, we're Man United FC. Yeah, he's going to be our top goal scorer. I hope he breaks the record. But it shouldn't be in your head thinking, I've got to pick Wayne Rooney because he's going to break this record. It should be, I'm going to pick Wayne Rooney because he's playing well, or I'm going to pick Wayne Rooney because he's the best person to play against this team. I think Rooney's going to play tomorrow, on Thursday, because because it's his time now. I think he's a squad player, and Mourinho's going to give time to players like him in these games. Everyone says he's the kind of player in these games to sort of get on a roll, get on form. But it shouldn't be about the record. No one should be thinking about the record. Not even Wayne Rooney should be thinking about his record. I mean, it might be hard for him to forget about it, but he should be thinking about, we're Man United, we need to get 3 points. I want to get a goal. I want to win this game. Not, I'm going to be the record. I'm going to be the top goal scorer.
That's bang on, bang on. Dale, what do you make of it then? Mourinho, do you think he's not asked about Rooney's record? And like Nat says as well, Wayne Rooney, should he be asked about his record?
I think the issue is more political than Rooney's record with Mourinho. I think Rooney holds such significance in the dressing room. He's liked by the hierarchy at the club. He's the captain. He's the captain of England. And I think if he is dropped from the team permanently, I think you're going to have him sulking off to his friends in the media. You've already seen yesterday, you had Nani and Herrera coming out with silly statements really in the media about him being the best player and that he'd come back to his best and things like that. I think Rooney has a lot of friends in the press as a journalist, and he would not shy away from being a mole towards Mourinho if he was not in the spotlight. Rooney wants to be in the spotlight. I think that's the danger factor here. Mourinho needs to be careful of the situation, when to play Rooney. You can't really drop him out of the team totally, as he is captain, he's the best player. There has to be a way of finding the best out of him. And right now, in the first team, in the starting 11, he doesn't fit into that for me. So I think when it comes to Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup even, that's when he plays for me.
You mentioned the 11 there then, Dale. Give yours for the game in the Europa League against Zorya Luhansk.
De Gea. I think the last game, we need to win this one. We don't want to go through an embarrassing Europa League campaign by underestimating teams. And there was a bit of an excuse last time around that some of the players didn't have many minutes behind them. As the competition goes on, you can't use that anymore, I'm afraid. So it's that obviously De Gea, because I don't trust Romero whatsoever.
Even in a Europa League game.
Even in the Europa League. I would say Fosu Mensah at right back, but in the League Cup, when I watched him, I thought that he actually looked like a player that was played out of position. And that was my view. He looked uncomfortable at times and lacked concentration. So I'm going to go with Darmian again. I still think he's a good footballer in him. Heavily affected by the Louis van Gaal reign, if you ask me. At left back, I'm going to go with Blind again. I think Blind's a bit misfortunate that we have Luke Shaw, because whenever he performs, United are better for it. Whenever he plays, United are a better team. And it's just hard to fit him into a position because he's not really a centre half. It's going to be tough to get into midfield for him. So when we can play at left back, give him a run. Centre half, Bailey and Smalling. Keep Rowe out of the team at all costs. Midfield, I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to go with Schneiderlin and Carrick. Carrick needs game time. 3 in front of that. Lingard, Rooney in number 10 role. Don't shoot me. And Martial. I'm just trying to fit players in, really, because I think with this team we should be beating this crowd. And up top, Marcus Rashford.
Very, very good team. Marcus Rashford up top would be scintillating. So, Nat, what is your 11 for the game?
So, I'm unlike Dale, we do have to win it, but I'm going to put a few surprises in, probably. I want Romero.
Okay.
I want Darmian right back, because I think he needs the games. I think, that's what this cup is for. I want to see like a youth player. I want to see either Fosu or Tuzembeze. So I've said Tuzembeze in the centre back. Yeah, that would be
sweet, actually.
I think Blind next to him, because I think Blind's been the best centre back, really. It's surprising, but I think he has. And he's calming influence next to him. Shaw, give him some minutes, get him back to full fitness. Have Morgan, Fellaini and Pogba as a midfield 3. Then I'd put Mkhitaryan on the right, get him minutes again, get him back up to fitness. Put Memphis on the left and Rooney up top.
Yep, it's a very good team, very good team. We'll see if Mkhitaryan is ready to play on Thursday, but hopefully so, because we've not seen enough of him in a United shirt so far this season. John, what's your 11 for the game versus Zorya, mate?
I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I'm going to go David De Gea in goal. I'm going to go with the back 4, the same back 4 of Antonio Valencia, Eric Bailly, Chris Smalling, and Daley Blind. I thought Daley Blind was fantastic at left back versus Leicester City. He was an absolutely amazing performance. But the one thing that I did very much enjoy that Daley Blind sort of displayed was his vision. I think his long range diagonals, his 40-yard passes, pinging him to the opposite side of the pitch. Whenever he had the opportunity, whenever he saw that sort of opportunity to find somebody like with the likes of Lingard, Ibra, even at times Mata and Herrera, I think the ability for him to pick those passes was absolutely fantastic. And I would like to see this back 4 sort of continue a little bit, just to see what Jose Mourinho's back 4 of these 4 players would look like. I'm gonna go with a defensive midfield 2 or whatever, or midfield 3 rather, with the same midfield 3 with Pogba, Mata, and Herrera, and Mata maybe sitting in the number 10 role, or if you'd like to describe it, Herrera sitting more so in that single pivot holding midfield role. And I'm going to make the switch here. I'm going to go for Memphis on the left. I'm going to go for Rashford on the right, and I'm going to go for Martial up top, just for the hell of it. I want to see how that can sort of come up and sort of gel, because I forgot which one of these wonderful people mentioned it. It's a team that we should be beating. No disrespect to Zorya Luhansk, but we should be getting a result from here, whether it be a 1-0 or a 2-0 or 2-1, whatever it is. So I want to see that sort of a squad. Give Ibra a rest. He's an old man. He needs to get his legs rested up a little bit. I mean, he's a fantastic player, but you have to treat him with we have to treat his legs a little bit differently than other players. So I think I want to give him a little bit of a rest and see. Hopefully, we can get a result off of that.
I mean, we're all football fans here, so obviously we all know loads about Zorya Luhansk. Otherwise, you're not really a real football fan, are you? So we'll start with John. Tell me about them, mate. Tell me about the Ukrainian team. Like I already don't know.
What I do know is that they are a side that's currently sitting second in the Ukrainian Premier League, and I also do know, you already know, and I also do know that they've only been in the Europa League for 2 seasons or so, and the fact that Zorya Luhansk is also playing in a scary sort of situation right now in the global history of things. I think we need to make sure that the players are more so comfortable and set with playing their game. Obviously, going to places like Turkey, going to places like Ukraine right now, it's a bit scary. But at the same time, the footballing is important, and we need to make sure that we need to get results off of these teams. And yeah, I think we need to sort of play our own game, regardless of what Zorya Luhansk is going to bring. I think this is the time for us to sort of get our game going, get our players to play the style they need to be, like we saw against Leicester City. When we let players like Pogba, when we let players like Mata, when we let players like Rashford do their thing, give them the freedom, allow them to sort of express their creativity up top, it's almost impossible to say that they're going to have a difficult time scoring goals. I think we have the creativity, we have what it takes to play the game. So that's pretty much it.
Dale, tell me what you know.
Apart from being told from a Polish football writer, they're the Leicester City of Ukrainian football. I don't know anything else.
Right, Nat, what do you know? Great help, mate.
I don't know a lot, Gaz, but I saw them play. Well, I saw highlights against Fenerbahce, and I don't know his name, but the guy who scored and made a little run, Herskinsky, he looked quite good, so he might hurt us. I think they're going to play 5 men behind the ball and it's going to be like a PSV game like last year when Louis van Gaal come break us down. You're Man United. You've got to score. You've got to win.
You lot are rubbish. You lot are rubbish. Absolutely naff. I know everything there is to know about Zorya Luhansk. Right, I'll tell you right now. So, they were formerly called Zorya Luhansk. Grad. That's what they were formerly called. And they've won their last 2, including a 1-0 win away to Dynamo Kiev. So these guys, they're no mugs. They can keep a clean sheet against the biggest team in Ukraine. So they're not too bad. But coming to Old Trafford, we should be able to deal with them. Nat, what score are you saying?
3-0. Let's go.
3-0. John, what you saying, mate?
I'm thinking it's going to be 2-0.
2-0. And Dale?
2-1 United.
2-1, the only one not predicting a clean sheet. How very negative of you. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us on the preview for the Zorya Luhansk game. Get in your comments below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Laters.